Okay, so welcome everybody to this conference with Le Cercle des Langues. I am Chanel and I will be taking you through this conference about will versus going to. This is a B1 to B2 level conference, and for the next 25 minutes, we will be discussing the difference between will, which is a future simple tense, versus going to in English. A quick reminder to please make sure that your microphones are muted for the duration of the conference. And in the last 5 minutes, we will have a question and answer session where you can ask about the conference and where you can make comments or give suggestions. So let's begin. In tonight's conference, we are going to look at 4 parts. We are going to look at the introduction to future tenses. We will then look at how we use will for future predictions and decisions. In our third section, we are going to look at how we use going to for plans and intentions. And for the last part, practical usage and our exceptions. If you have any questions, remember you can either put them in the chat or you can write them on a piece of paper for later. So let's begin. So welcome everyone. Today we are going to study and differentiate 2 topics that will allow you to speak clearly about your future plans for the near future and the distant future. So, what are future tenses? Future tenses in English help us talk about things that haven't happened yet. We use them when we want to discuss future plans, make predictions, or decide to do something. There are different ways to express the future, and 2 of the most common in English are will and be going to. So the 2 main forms, will and be going to, can be explained with the following. In English, we often use will and be going to when we want to talk about the future. Although both are used for future actions, there are specific situations where one is better than the other. For example, I will help you. I am going to visit my grandma. So let's look at those situations. Before we look deeper, let's look at the conjugation for will. You have what we call the positive and you have the negative. In the positive, you have your subjects. I, you, he, she, it, you, we, and they, with your form of the future, will, and you add the base form of your verb. Go, do, see, play, fight, tell, and read. Normally, or most times, you use the infinitive, which has to. However, with will, you only add the base. So we do not say, I will to go, I will to play. No, we simply say, I will go. On the right-hand side, you have your negation, you have your negative, which is your subject and will plus not, which becomes won't. I will not come, I will not write, I won't study, I won't bring, I won't wash, I won't say, I won't clean, I won't speak. If you decide you would like to use will not instead of won't, there is no problem. It is exactly the same thing. Won't is just shorter. It is the contraction. For be going to, you have two forms as well. You use the subject plus the verb to be, and then going to with your base form of your verb. For example, I am going to go, or the negative, I am not going to go. You are going to do, or you are not going to do. He, she, or it, we have is, not, or going to see, and you, we, and they will have are, going to play or not going to play. So your negative word, not, will be between the verb to be and the main verb, ing. So the question is, when do we use will? We use will when we are making a spontaneous decision, offering to do something, or making a promise. It is used when we decide something in the moment, or when we make a guess about what might happen. So in other words, will is when we make a spontaneous decision or a prediction. We do not have proof that something is going to happen. It is something that we think is going to happen. For example, I think it will rain tomorrow. It is a prediction, but there is no proof that it will rain. I think it will rain. I will help you with that. It is a spontaneous decision. For example, you see an elderly woman with many bags in the store and you decide, oh, I'm going to help her with that. So I will help you with that. I promise I will call you tonight. That is a promise. So therefore I use will. When do we use going to? Going to is used when we talk about future plans or intentions, something we have already decided to do. It is also used for predictions based on evidence we can see now. For example, I'm going to study English tonight. So it is something that I have planned. Look at the clouds. It's going to rain. There is prediction with evidence. So for will, it is spontaneous and it is something we think will happen and it is a prediction. But with going to, it is a plan, it is an intention, and it is a prediction with evidence. And those are the two different future tenses. So let's see if we can use will for future predictions and decisions. Using will for future predictions and decisions is known as the simple future with will. Will is used to make predictions or decisions in the moment. The structure is the subject with will plus the base form of the verb. We also contract will with pronouns. I will becomes I'll. You will becomes you'll. So examples, I'll call you later. They'll arrive soon. We use will when we are predicting something that we believe will happen in the future. These predictions are based on what we think, not necessarily on evidence that we can see. I think she will win the competition. There is no evidence to prove that she will win, but I think that she will win. And often when we see the subject I or we see the verb think, we know that there will probably be will involved in the sentence because it is I think, therefore it is a prediction. You will pass your exam. I'm saying that because I think you will pass. There is no evidence that proves in advance that you will pass the exam, so it is a thought. I will travel around the world. Again, it is something I believe. There is no proof, but it is what I think will happen. So it is a prediction. So therefore, I use will. Will also forms decisions that are made in the moment. So we also use will when we decide to do something on the spot, spontaneously. It's a spontaneous decision, meaning you haven't planned it before. For example, I'm tired. I think I will go to bed now. Don't worry, I will help you with that. I will open the door. Don't worry. Sometimes you can see it in a conversation because of words like don't worry, wait, oh no. These kinds of words show that it is a spontaneous response, and therefore we will use will because we can see that it is something we are thinking about in the moment. Now using going to for plans and intentions. The structure of going to. We use going to talk about things we plan to do in the future. For example, the structure will be subject plus am, is, or are, plus going to, plus the base form of the verb. For example, I am going to watch a movie tonight. She is going to visit her grandparents this weekend. They are going to run tonight. This indicates that the people who have made these decisions, who are going to do these actions, have decided beforehand that they are going to do these things. And we know this because they are using going to. We use be going to when we have already made a plan or decision about something. This is different from will, which is more spontaneous. For example, I'm going to study for my exam tomorrow. We are going to travel to France next summer. So we can see that it has been planned, and maybe for further context, we have bought the tickets, the airline tickets. That shows that we are going. There is proof. I'm going to study for my exam tomorrow. Maybe I have arranged with a few friends to get together and to study. That arrangement is a plan that I have made in advance. Therefore, I use I am going to study for my exam tomorrow. Predictions with evidence. Going is also used to make predictions when we have evidence now that something will happen in the future. For example, look at the dark clouds. It is going to rain soon. The baby is going to cry. He looks upset. So there is evidence before the action happens. For example, when there are clouds outside, it's dark, it's gray, you can hear the thunder. That is a prediction because there is evidence that it is going to rain. And then I say, oh, it is going to rain. For example, if you buy a present for a loved one and it's something that they really wanted because they have said it in the past, oh, I would really love this handbag, and you buy it, you can say, oh, she is going to love this handbag. Why? Because there is proof. She said that she wanted the handbag. So I have proof that she is going to love the handbag. There is evidence. So when we compare will versus going to, will is for spontaneous decisions and predictions without evidence. Going to is for plans and predictions with evidence. Example, I think I will call him later. That is a decision I took in the moment. It is spontaneous. I am going to call him later. That is a plan that I have made, and maybe the evidence is that I have told him I am going to call him later. So therefore, that is going to be going to. So let's look at some practical usage and even some exceptions. Will in offers and promises. Will is often used to make offers and promises. For example, I will bring you some tea. This is an offer. I will always be your friend. This is a promise. I will buy you some snacks for the race. So here we can see that it could be a spontaneous decision, but because it is an offer, because it is a promise, it is an exception. And in English, we use will for offers and promises. Going to is used when something is already arranged or planned. For example, I'm going to go to the dentist on Friday. It's a fixed plan. I have called the dentist to make an appointment, and therefore I will use going to because it shows that it is a fixed plan. She's going to visit her grandparents this weekend. It is pre-arranged. That means that I have called my grandparents and they know that I am coming, and therefore I'm going to use going to. We are going to move to a new apartment next month. It is a planned action. We have signed the lease for the new apartment, and that means it is already planned. Therefore, we use going to. For the future continuous tense, we use the future continuous tense, and now this is something a little different. It is when we use will be with the verb ing. This means we talk about an action that will be happening at a certain time in the future. So for example, this time tomorrow, I will be flying to New York. At 8 p.m. tonight, I will be attending a concert. We know that when we are flying, it is a period of time. So at a specific point, where will you be? If my flight leaves at 7:45 and it lands the next day, during that entire time, at a particular point, I will be flying to New York. At 8 p.m. tonight, I will be attending the concert. That means that the concert began at 7 and it will finish at 9. So for that 2 hours, at 8 p.m., I will be attending the concert. So you are speaking about a continuous action that will be happening in the future. So let's look at some practice examples. Regarding what we just studied during the session, fill in the space with the correct answer. So if you would like to participate, please feel free to put your answers in the chat and I will look at them as we go. So number 1, look at those dark clouds. It will rain soon, is going to rain soon, or will be raining soon. What do you think? Raymond says it will rain soon. Eric says will. Mathis says it's going to rain. So for Mathis, you are correct. We say look at those dark clouds. Because we can see the dark clouds, it means there is evidence. And with evidence, we use it's going to rain. So well done, Mathis. Let's try number 2. I think I visit my grandparents next week. Naoli says will. Florence says I'm going to. Matthew says I will visit. Yes, it is I will visit because I think I will visit my grandparents. It is a spontaneous decision. Well done, Eric and Raymond and Lionel. I will visit. Okay. Look at number 3. They buy a new car next year. They have already planned it. Is it are going to, Florence? Or is it well? Mathis, they are going. Eric, going. Well done. They are going to because it is already planned. I help you with your homework. Don't worry. Will or be going to? Eric will. Mathis will help. Nearly will. Perfect. I will because it is a decision I have made right now. She study English because she has a test tomorrow. Florence is going to. Beautiful. Mathis, she's going to. Well done. Eric, going to. Exactly, 100%. She is going to study. Because she has the test, there is proof that she is going to study. For the last one, I promise I call you when I get home. Perfect. I promise I will call you because it is a promise that we are making. Well done, everyone. These answers are amazing and they are all correct. So, as I said, look at those dark clouds. It's going to rain soon because there is proof. I think I will visit my grandparents next week. I think, therefore, it's a prediction. They are going to buy a new car next year. They have already planned it. Because it is a plan, I use going to. I will help you with your homework. Don't worry. It is a decision I made in the moment. It is spontaneous. She is going to study English because she has a test tomorrow. It is planned, and I promise I will call you when I get home. A promise, therefore, I use will. In conclusion, understanding the difference between will and going to helps us express our future intentions, predictions, and plans clearly. Use will for spontaneous decisions, promises, and predictions based on personal opinions or no evidence. Use going to when talking about plans and intentions already decided or predictions based on present evidence. By practicing these distinctions, you will become more confident in speaking about the future in English. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining me for this conference this evening. I hope that things were clear for you. I'd like to have the presentation too. Wonderful. So everybody, whoever would like to have the presentation, please put your email in the chat as I have seen, and I will send it to you right after the conference tonight. So if you'd put all of your emails in the chat, I will send it to you. Do you have any questions regarding tonight's conference? You may now unmute your microphone or any comments that you would like to share. No? It's all good? Wonderful. So everyone have a good evening. I will just be collecting everyone's email address and I will hopefully see you next week for the next conference. So have a wonderful weekend, everyone.